Dear friends, as we are currently delving deep into the origin of existence, we will also explain relational non-duality's response to creationism. Relational non-duality always insists truth is not about choosing one side in opposition, but finding resonance in differences. So, we do not only talk about cosmic microwave background radiation, speak about singularity, discuss quantum fluctuations. We will also talk about divinity, not to deliberately create a mysterious atmosphere, but to re-understand what divinity truly is. We start from science and will also return to spirituality. We trust the mathematical formulas, but yet experience tremors every moment. We do not deny the beauty of physical laws and do not shy away from the genuine emotion brought by love, consciousness, and resonance. So, please continue with me with curiosity and tenderness. You are not choosing a viewpoint, but traversing language to return to a more honest experience. When you gaze up at the stars, feeling a sense of small yet sacred awe, perhaps you have asked, where does all this come from? Besides scientific formulas and observational data, is there a deeper force supporting the unfolding of all this? Almost all mythologies of traditional religions begin with a sentence. In the beginning, God created the world. This sentence, like the opening gun of history, establishes God as the preeminent creator and the world as his creation. In this structure, God is the ruler and we are his servants. God is the essence and we are the shadows. He is beyond the light, creating the heavens and the earth. He gazes down from high, placing each of us in the fabric of time and space. Thus, we are taught to respect him, fear him, believe in him, obey him. We stand on this side of the world, holding him high on the other side. However, in your most tender and honest moments, have you ever doubted? If God truly exists, why is he so distant? Why, in your loneliest, most painful, most helpless moments, do you not feel his presence? If God is love, why does he allow so much brokenness? If God is all-powerful, why does he not mend all this? We seem to be given life, but simultaneously deprived of its source. We live not to unfold ourselves, but to return to a God we can never equate with. Is this our real relationship with divinity? Is God really just a distant, all-powerful Lord? Did we come to this world just to fulfill his commands, to please his whims? If you have ever cried in the deep of the night, if you have ever sought solace in despair, then you know, such a God is not gentle enough, not real enough. Such God is not by your side, but only lives in the paragraphs of doctrines. What you long for is a God you can touch, a God willing to touch you. What you long for is a divinity that does not abandon you when you tremble, a divinity that resonates with you as you breathe. So now, please set aside the familiar story of the Creator you once knew, and let us start anew from the process of manifestation itself. Now, let us imagine an absolutely perfect existence. one who is all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipresent, without any deficiencies, suffering, or limitations, transcending time, space, and material as a pure essence. Then we must ask, if this being is perfect, why create a world at all? Wouldn't this be redundant, even a weakening of its perfection? Any action must be based on some motive. We can imagine several common motives to explain why God creates. Out of love and to share, for glory and self-revelation, for being worshipped and recognition, or for other certain purpose, such as tasting, redemption, or planning. However, these motives all contain inherent paradoxes. If we say that God created the world out of love and to share, it implies that God needs an object to love, indicating a lack of fulfillment within itself, which is not complete. If we say that God created all things for glory and self-revelation, it suggests a desire to be seen, hinting at a certain loneliness or unfulfilled longing. If we say that God created His worshippers for worship and recognition, it implies that He needs the worship of others to prove Himself, suggesting that divinity cannot stand independently. If people reject His existence, He feels hurt or angry, resembling an emotional personality rather than an eternal perfection. If God is a complete existence, then any motive for creation appears redundant, even degrading. Next, let us analyze the philosophical foundation behind the creationism. Almost all theological concepts of God created the world are built upon a monistic ontology. Monistic ontology refers to the ultimate reality being a single, absolute, essential existence, the sole source and foundation of all existence, and the highest truth. This ultimate reality is often described as a perfect, complete, infinite existence. However, within this structure lies an irreconcilable fundamental contradiction. If God, or the ultimate reality, is entirely perfect and in no need of any supplementation, then any creation or action itself becomes a problem, because action implies change, transitioning from one state to another, whether it be manifestation, expression, movement, or initiating the creative process. The issue is this: a perfect essence, since it lacks nothing, has no need for change. Since it is omnipresent, it has no destination. Since it transcends time and space, it should not intervene in any temporal process. If it takes actions, it is no longer self-sufficient. If it has a purpose, it is limited by the structure of that purpose. This is why in certain philosophical systems, the perfect one is defined as motionless, existing as a pure presence that does not actively intervene in the world. For example, the formless Nirguna Brahman in Vedanta is pure consciousness beyond all attributes, not creating, not intervening, not imposing limits, because they have long recognized that where there is action, there is desire. Where there is desire, there is dissatisfaction. And where there is dissatisfaction, there cannot be completeness. However, relational non-duality takes a completely different path from monistic ontology here. We do not understand existence as some pre-existing static essence, nor do we believe that the universe was created by some external absolute entity. Instead, we advocate that the essence of existence is not an ontological concept or deity, but relationships. Not the manifestation of entities, but the resonance of tensions. Not a who, but a how. This means that the world does not emerge from a self-sufficient essence, but naturally arises within the structural tension of relationships. Just like in an ecosystem, moleculars connect through charge and energy exchange. Cells sustain life through chemical signals. These connections are not created by a certain will, but naturally emerge within structural relationships. Therefore, in relational non-duality, we are not seeking how an all-knowing, all-powerful God projected the world from himself, but pointing out the world has never been manufactured, but naturally forms trembling focal points within the density, tension, and paths of relationships. This also explains another key point. Why in relational non-duality, divinity is not a transcendent creator, but a transparent resonance within the structure. Divinity is not to fill some void by creating the universe, but flows, flashes, and vibrates in every node of relationships. If we continue to dwell in the mindset of monistic ontology, setting God as an absolute and perfect essence, then we cannot explain why he acts, why he creates, why he establishes connections, as all actions would weaken the definition of perfection. Relational non-duality, on the other hand, points out it is not a perfect being wanting to establish a relationship with the world, but that the world itself is the unfolding of a relational structure. Therefore, in monistic ontology, relationships are secondary, derived from the perfect being, while in relational non-duality, relationships are the essence. There is no God outside of relationships. This is the way to resolve the creation paradox, abandoning the premise of a creating essence and returning to the relational nature of existence. We are not trying to understand why God creates, but how divinity quivers, responds, and manifests within the relationships of all things. Next, let us ponder another question. If God is an eternal being, then he is not within time, does not experience the flow of past, present, future. However, the act of deciding to create inherently involves taking new action at a certain moment, which is a temporal expression. A truly non-temporal existence cannot wait for a specific moment to decide to create, unless one acknowledges that God is contained by time. This constitutes a typical contradiction between time and eternity. Either God is not eternal, because he initiated the world at a certain moment, or creation is not a beginning action, but rather an unfolding that is constantly happening. To resolve this contradiction, some theological systems introduced the concept of eternal creation. That is to say, God is always in the process of creating, which also implies that the universe has existed from eternity. indicating that the universe is not created, but rather a necessary emergence of God or divinity. This contradicts the assertion that God created all things. Ultimately, these systems have to resort to mysterious will or human reason cannot comprehend, essentially admitting the failure of structural explanation. Almost all religion traditions attempt to mitigate this contradiction. They say that God has always existed and then voluntarily created the world. However, while this assertion retains the eternity of God, it introduces another layer of problems: the split in hierarchical structure. He is the creator, and we are the created. He is purpose, origin, light. We are process, result, darkness. He is complete. We are incomplete. He is the destination. We must return to Him. Although this structure carries intense emotional tension in faith, it is philosophically rife with fractures and oppositions. It creates an impassable chasm. God on the other shore, we on this shore. God as the essence, we as illusions. God as the ruler, we are subjects. This setting of God versus the created is not a celebration of divinity, but rather a closure of relationships. It removes divinity from the world, making Him an external presence, thereby obscuring the deepest truth. True divinity is not outside the world, but within it. Not before creation, but within the unfolding manifestation. Not on the opposite shore, but trembling within the network of flowing relationships at this moment. Spinoza proposed the concept of God or nature, denying the dualistic structure of God creating nature, advocating that God is the unfolding process of nature itself. If God exists outside of a certain moment, then He and nature are fundamentally divided. True divinity must be continuous existence, not an external creator. Heidegger proposed that existence precedes the existent, pointing out that if God is the supreme existent, then He still belongs to the category of the existent, a defined object. True existence is the unfolding that transcends any definable object. The concept of a creator God essentially remains an existent, not truly touching upon the emergence of existence itself. This leads to the inability of the concept of a creating God to explain the most fundamental question of why existence can manifest. Not only philosophy, but science has also responded to the contradictions of the creation theory. As we have detailed in the previous 2 episodes, theories such as quantum gravity, loop quantum cosmology, conformal cyclic cosmology, and others suggest that the universe may manifest cyclically rather than being created all at once. None of these theories require the assumption of a creating God to kickstart everything. Furthermore, the concept of going from absolute nothingness to absolute existence is not valid in physics. Even the vacuum state is not nothing, but a structure contains energy fluctuations. As you can see, from philosophy, theology, science, to the response of relational nonduality itself, they all point towards a clear conclusion. The notion of God as a creator is a linguistic illusion, a misleading ontology, a temporal delusion. True divinity is not an engineer initiating a project at a starting point, but a timeless manifestation. So, where do we go from here? If there is no creating God looking down upon us from the heights of heaven, if there is no engineer setting blueprints at the door of time and initiating the gears of the universe, then who are we? Why do we exist? Has the awe, trembling, and sense of belonging we feel become hollow illusions? Is the divinity we speak of merely a projection imagined by lonely humanity? How do we praise existence, express devotion, if everything is no longer created? Dear friend, the answer to these questions do not lie in language, but in the relationship between you and the world. In the next episode, we will delve into the heart of these questions, not to seek the image of God, but to understand why you are already an echo of divinity. I will see you soon.